I say hello, 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 hello. You can't do what I do, that's just something you don't.
Hey, what's up guys, TechTime here, and before I begin this video, as always, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, don't be a stranger, leave a thumbs up and also make sure you're subscribed, that way you don't miss out on new videos. And so with that being said, I have spent a couple of hours with the 2024 Moto Edge and I feel comfortable giving you guys in my initial impressions. So basically this phone design wise follows the same formula as other Motorola devices that have been shown this year, like the Moto G5G, the Moto G Play, and the Moto G Power. So first of all, the back has, well, one, it has your dual camera setup with a 50 megapixel main sensor as well as an ultra wide. More on the camera later on. And the back itself is made out of this vegan leather material. Again, familiar territory for Motorola phones this year. It feels really good in the hand and also adds kind of a premium look to your device itself, and even the leather material wraps around the camera housing. As far as your button placement goes, they are on the disappointing side just because of how thin these sides of the phone are thanks to the edge. So the power button and volume down are on your right hand side. They're not the clickiest or the most tactile buttons, and they're kind of hard to press, so it did take some time to get used to them. On the bottom of the phone, know that if you don't have a headphone jack on the bottom of your phone, you have somewhat of a premium device. So you do have your SIM tray, your USB-C that does support stupid 68 watt of fast charging, as well as a microphone on the bottom facing speaker. The left hand side does have kind of an action button. More on this button later on in the video. So now I want to switch the topic of conversation and talk about this display, which is the main attraction behind the Motorola Moto Edge. So this display has a lot going for it. So you do get a 6.6 inch 2400 by a 1080p Super AMOLED display that, well, they call it POLED, but basically this phone does have support for HDR10+. It also has a peak brightness of 1300 nits, which is crazy to see on a phone at this price point. And you also have the Corning Gorilla Glass as far as your screen goes, and this phone does have 402 ppi as far as your pixel density goes. So basically, bottom line is this phone is a premium display, right? And also you can't forget to mention the edges on the phone. Now, I don't want to say I'm the biggest fan, but I'm not a hater, right? I think the edges on this phone are fine. They're not too aggressive. They're minimalistic, and honestly they give this phone a good look, and I guess that's what they're trying to advertise and that's what they're trying to keep. So in addition to all of that, this phone does also have support for up to 144 hertz of refresh rate. So normally phones do have 120, and not a lot of phones have that 144 hertz refresh rate. I might as well use 144 hertz all the time. I mean, it's there. They're giving it to us, why not take advantage of it? So bottom line, so far my first impression of this display is that it's going to be a fantastic display. Watching content, anything that would require you to take advantage of the display, you have. So playing games on here is going to be really fun, so I'm excited to test that out in the near future. So yeah, that's my summary behind the display. Fantastic display. Not a lot of complaints that I have about it. As far as the camera situation goes, here's what we have. So this phone has a dual camera setup with your main sensor being a 50 megapixel at f1.8 aperture. You also have a 13 megapixel at f2.2, 120 degrees of ultra wide field of view. So main sensor, ultra wide camera, no telephoto lens. I'm fine with that. So basically I did take some pictures with this phone, but nothing that will give me kind of a definitive conclusion. The camera app itself is as fun to use or as simplistic to use as you can get with kind of a smartphone nowadays. So taking pictures is quick, switching between modes, your video mode, your photo mode is really quick, and also switching between your main sensor and your ultra wide sensors is smooth and quick as well. And also this phone does have this kind of 2x digital zoom as well as a macro sensor that is combined with the main sensor, I guess. But I'm really here for the main sensor and the ultra wide. That's it. Obviously with the ultra wide sensor, I expect that we will get kind of a lower resolution, but this phone does have the capability of recording 4K at 30 frames per second or even 1080p at 30 or 60 frames per second. And I am happy to report that you can switch between the main sensor and the ultra wide while shooting video. So thumbs up for that. The pictures, I will be reviewing them in a separate video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. that's in the works, and it will be coming out soon. All right, so next in the conversation is the performance aspect of the phone. So this device does support Android 14 out of the box, and you also have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 7S Gen 2 processor based on a 4nm architecture. It is an octa-core processor with the Adreno 710 for your GPU, a whopping 256 gigabytes of standard storage, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and yeah, 5000 milliamp hour battery, 68 watts of fast charging, as well as 15 watts of wireless charging. So everything about the specs seems fair and appropriate for this phone's price, which I will discuss at the end of the video. And so my experience with the performance, really quickly, here's what I have to say. Well, one, when I did my Geekbench, it gave me some respectable scores. So as far as your single core performance, it did give me 1017. For my multi-threaded performance, it is 2914, and it's what I expected from this processor. Everything about this phone is smooth, fast, not only thanks to the processor, but also thanks to that incredible 144 hertz display. Navigating the phone, switching between apps, things of that nature, anything that requires kind of light tasks, this phone works on it flawlessly, right? The other thing that I want to mention is that overall, though, the performance first impressions really good. The action button that Motorola has, when you press on it, it brings up this screen where do more with Motorola, where you can personalize things like your gestures and other things. You can turn on the edge display as well, so you can do a lot of things with this. Okay, essentially I haven't found any other uses for this button, so I'm still working on that, but basically the gestures, you gotta love them with Motorola. So you have this kind of classic chop to turn on the flashlight, twist to turn on the camera. So these are things that are classic, and you can find them in a lot of Motorola phones, so they're not really exclusive to this one. But my bottom line for this device is as follows. Basically, I do like this phone a lot. This phone does come with a hefty price tag of $550. Off of impressions, this might seem like a lot, but you do get a lot of phone with it. So a proper mid-range processor, a really good display, what seems to be a solid camera, and everything about this phone just fits, I would say, the description of a $550 phone. Now, to some people that may seem like a lot, and you can get this phone for a cheaper price tag at around $299. I've seen it at T-Mobile or Metro by T-Mobile. And for that type of price, it makes this phone even more appropriate. So this is only my first impressions. I want to hear your guys' thoughts about this device. Leave them in the comments below. And with that being said, I want to thank you all so much for watching. More videos on this phone is set to come out really soon. So be on the lookout. Make sure you subscribe, turn on that notification so that way you don't miss out. Thank you all so much for watching.